Usha Pantula. She's a freelance training consultant. She's a doctorate in change management, and she specializes in life skills and posh awareness among corporates, firms, and organizations. She's also trained by the Confederation of Indian Industries. She's a very strong advocate of gender equality and empowerment, and she promotes a very safe and inclusive working environment for companies. So we are privileged that you are with us, Dr. Usha. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vinod. I should also thank the Invotech Software Dealers Association and its management committee to have given me the opportunity to present a topic or discuss a topic, I would say, that has as much relevance as business growth these days. To begin with, I would start with a disclaimer that the topic that we are delving into, only the tip can be actually touched in 1 hour. So that's the disclaimer. And the next thing is, I always enjoy or do feel very much comfortable in doing a physical session, in-person session. But then I think we have to limit ourselves to this virtual session, considering the area that we are covering and the target group that we are covering, diverse target group. Welcome to all of you. And with your permission, I would like to go ahead and start the session. I'm minimizing the window. Rajiv and Samina, I look forward to your support in case of any technical glitch. Thank you. So let's start with what the topic says, creating safe spaces at work. What does a safe workspace mean to you? Or what does a safe space at work mean to you? Can we define safety at the workplace? People can unmute and share their views. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So what
Yes,
is safety? What is workplace safety? What is a safe workplace? What does it mean to you? See, the more interactive it is, the more will be the takeaway. Yes, anyone? What does workplace safety mean?
A worry-free workplace where we don't worry
Worry-free.
about the person sitting right next to us.
Okay, so you're just closing into the topic that we are. Is that what a safe workplace means to everyone? Safety at the workplace. Whenever we talk about safety at the workplace, the first pictures or images that are there in our mind are what if our workplace catches fire? What if our workplace has a short circuit and then or some kind of a problem and we are just stuck in or things like that. So that is something we talk about physical safety, right? For that we have a lot of things in place and a lot of safety drills also keep happening. But then when we are looking at safe workspaces on a forum like this and delving into a topic like this, a safe workspace is something which is not just taking care of the physical safety of all those who are working with us or for us, but I would like to read out a couple of definitions which are given on the Google, obviously. Wikipedia says, a safe space refers to a place intended to be free of bias, conflict, criticism, or potentially threatening actions, ideas, or conversations. So it's like, where do all these things come from? They come from fellow colleagues or fellow human beings, right? So threatening actions, criticism, conflict, and bias. Let's not make our topic so expansive. Let us just concentrate on one area which we are going to look at today. Okay. And Oxford says a place or environment in which a person or category of people can feel confident that they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, or any other emotional or physical harm. So here we're not just talking about physical safety, we are also talking about psychological safety, emotional safety, which can be at stake when there's a lot of discrimination or criticism or harassment, which we are going to look at through an act which has been given to us. Okay. Now, as we go to the next slide, okay, let me set the context with the questions that I have asked. How many of you, I think most of you must have come from co-ed institutions, right? You must have studied in co-education schools or co-education colleges, or post-graduation universities at universities. So can you tell me, a few of you at least, what is the ratio of girls is to boys, ratio of girls and boys in your schools? Ratio of girls and boys in your school?
Equal.
Fantastic. College? Anybody else?
70-30.
70-30. 70 is what and 30 is what?
70% boys, 30% girls.
30% girls.
Okay, 70-30. Okay. Now, can I have one more answer? As you joined, okay, at the first step of your career, like when you were starting your careers, first jobs, okay, or now the language changes, like, during campus recruitment or as interns, what is the ratio? What was the ratio of girls versus boys? Now, I think girls and boys become men and women, right? So, what is the ratio? What was the ratio?
60-40? 40.
60-40. So 60 boys and 40 girls.
Yes.
Okay. So now I think you must be interacting with a lot of people, your client organizations or wherever you are networking. Okay. So as you see the upper levels of the ladder, when I say that, mid management level or senior management level positions or C-suites. Okay. So now what is the ratio? What ratio do you find? Is it still 60-40?
Oh, ma'am. 80-20.
80-20.
80-20. Now comes the hard question. How many female dealers are there in ISODA? What is the ratio of male female dealers in ISODA?
5%. 5 to 10%.
5 to 10%. So the ratio is at 90 is to 10, right?
Yeah.
So why do you think it's like that? Why do you think it is like that? See, we said that in schools, I got the answer 50-50. Then at the beginning of the career, it was 70-30 or 60-40. Colleges also, it was similar. And entry-level jobs, it was similar. Mid-level management and senior level management, and CXO. And when I come to ISODA, it's like completely, we don't find, right? Why? Let's not limit ourselves to the organization that or your association ISODA. I would like to let's look at why do you think the ratio comes down or there is a lot of disparity? Why? Mr. Gaurav, can you go on mute, please? Yeah, thank you.
Because I
Why?
think that most of the times women are seen as persons who take care of the family, and that is why they, the tendency is that women get into taking care of the family, the children, and all these things, and get away from business.
Okay, so if we look at the journey at the entry level, most of them join with a lot of right? A lot of enthusiasm
Yes.
is there. Somewhere down the line, we are seeing that the numbers are coming down. People are falling out, right? So now
Yes.
you have given me a couple of reasons: family, caretaking, and things like that. Now, when a woman leaves a job, okay, if she is leaving the job because of her family, like parents or children or husband got relocated or some other like in-laws or some ailment, physical ailment, would she mind sharing the reason with others? Would she try to keep it a secret?
No.
Not
This is what
necessarily, unless
not necessarily. Unless
maybe if it is like relocating or something like that, she would not mind sharing because it is something which happens.
no,
But
it's like
maybe if
husband
it is
relocating. I'm talking about
yes,
husband relocating.
yeah, husband relocating.
Yeah,
So it's like
okay.
husband is relocating. That is why I have to go. I have to leave the job.
Okay,
But if it is
so
something like taking care of the family, she may not be wanting to share that.
okay,
Depends.
okay. So it depends. And usually we find that whenever there are reasons like this come from the culture that we come in, Okay, a woman is put on a pedestal. Oh, see, she has given up a wonderful career for the sake of her family. Or, she's so highly educated, so well qualified. Had she been in the job, she would have gone to the C-suite level. But she has actually, sacrificed that for the family. So people are put on an altar when they do such things. So if a woman has, taken a step back because of any of these reasons, usually you don't find them shying away, sharing those reasons. They would definitely say that this is the reason why I have taken a back seat. Is there a chance that sometimes we see that somebody who was very capable, doing very well, and who was like, managing, multitasking, managing family, everything, and suddenly you see that the person has become dull or looking out for a job, for another job, or just trying to do a job that can be done work from home rather than coming out and meeting people, or a kind of a dynamic job and settling in for not such an ambitious career. And these things happen. When these things happen, they may not even say a reason. When you find that there are women who are suddenly not seen, whom you have expected to perform very well, they're suddenly not seen and no reasons discussed. Okay. Why do you think they don't discuss any reason? Or do you think beyond family, beyond other personal commitments, there could be any reason for women dropping out?
Yeah, there could be many reasons. Actually, one could be a burnt out feeling.
Burnout feeling, exactly. Okay.
And
Then,
second could be because sometimes when women do share such things, then others don't accept it.
okay.
Because
So,
see, what a woman goes through, only
mhm.
she understands. A man does not understand what a woman goes through.
Okay, good,
That
well
is
put in, right?
my
Yeah,
perception.
yeah, exactly. It's like
Bluntly
I would
speaking.
not, yeah, bluntly speaking, but I would not say male or female, but usually what one person goes through, the other
Yes,
person cannot
do not
probably
understand.
exactly understand what it is, right? So when people are not giving reasons, okay, and when people are suddenly not seen at the workplaces, we agree that there is a leaky pipeline, right? There is a
Yes,
leaky
absolutely.
pipeline.
Yes,
Somewhere the pipeline
definitely.
is leaking. And when there was a lot of research done on why there is a leaky pipeline across the world. See, if you're looking at the population, right? If as many number of women, I mean the men-women ratio that is there, if as many number of women work as many number of the men, then obviously our GDP levels are going to go, GDP is going to go up and there'll be a lot of income generation. It's not happening. There's a lot of gender gap, right? So why is it happening? A lot of research went into it. And then we need to look at two things which actually made this act come into existence, or the implementation of the act has been made mandatory for organizations. Okay, so when this research has actually happened, they found out that there were many reasons why people were not sharing them but still dropping out of the workforce. And when those reasons were a research was done, and they were an analysis was done, then it came into light that there was a possibility that harassment could be a reason. See, Maternity Benefits Act also had come during around that time of 2013. Then POSH Act had come, and the creche facility, maternity increased from 3 months to 6 months. All these are the what do you call? They have been given as an impetus for women to sustain, or survive in the pipeline, with a lot of support that is being or tried to be given. Okay. Now, why is this important? Let us look at our fundamental rights. What do our fundamental rights say? And let us pick up only a couple of them. We're not discussing the fundamental rights, all of them. So, right to freedom and right to life.
Equal opportunities.
Yeah, equal opportunities, right to life, right to a life of dignity. So, when these are the rights, or right to practice any profession, and when I say any profession, trade, or occupation where I feel psychologically safe, I can choose a workplace which makes me feel safe. So these are all the fundamental rights. Who has given the fundamental rights? Is it your organization? Is it our school? Is it a college? Who has given the fundamental rights? Our constitution has given the fundamental rights. So nobody can actually take it away from us. So when some certain behaviors actually threaten these fundamental rights, then it is very, very important to address them. Okay, that's one thing. The second thing is UN Sustainable Development Goals. When we are talking about Sustainable Development Goals, goal number 5 is equality, gender equality, and goal number 10 is, reducing inequalities. So before 2030, a lot of efforts, if you look at across the world, okay, 17 goals. We have 17 goals, out of which let us have only 2 goals here, which are very much relevant for the topic that we are discussing. One is equality, gender equality, and the other one is reducing inequalities. With this background, okay, we got this act, which is Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act at the workplace. Now, let us just look at the need. What is the need for the act? Okay, or what is the need for a policy? What is the need for the trainings? What is the need for the act is any kind of behavior which is actually acting against our fundamental rights, where our fundamental rights are being made a joke of. Okay, such behaviors have to be condemned. They have to be, I mean, we are not talking about Indian Penal Code, or we're not talking about crime. We're talking about workplaces. We're talking about inappropriate behaviors at the workplace, which can actually threaten our fundamental rights, which is my right to practice a profession of my choice or do a job of my choice and feeling safe at the workplace. Okay, my dignity not being maintained at the workplace. Okay, so the need of the act was established because of all these reasons, and need for a policy. Now, if you read an act, the act came into existence in 2013. But if you read any act for that matter, it has got a lot of legal jargon. And for everyone to understand legal jargon, it becomes very difficult, right? So we need a policy. What is a policy? Policy is our understanding or interpretation of the act to suit our organization. Now, if I'm a hotelier, I run a hotel. Okay. So if I run a hotel, my policy is different. It will cover all that is there in the act in accordance with my area of business or my nature of business. So we need a separate policy for each organization. It's not like a cut, copy, paste, and replicating the same policy across different organizations to suit my needs. If I have, like, say, for example, your dealers, right? So how does your, I would like to understand from one of you, what is the kind of organization that you have? Does it completely operate on a virtual model? Is it a hybrid model? Do you have an office setup? Do you have a regional office and sub offices at different places? How does it operate? Can one of you share?
It will be mixed. It will be mixed among the members.
Yes, it'll be mixed, right? So your policy should be able to cover all those things. So it's not just the act which you can actually, have it taken a print off and then sign it in a memorandum of whatever board resolution, and then say that we are done, we are implementing. You need to have your own policy. That is one thing. And then trainings. When I'm talking about trainings are awareness, creating awareness, and they say that awareness actually strengthens one's character. So each of the trainings have to be tailor-made. Like when I'm saying trainings being tailor-made, you need to have a separate kind of training for your lead team or the top management. You need to have a separate training for your the ground level workforce, which go to the clients' places and meet the clients. And you need to have a separate training for those employees who are probably working on a contract with you. So different kinds of trainings for different set of employees that you have. Now, again, you should see that the law has come out with, it's a key strategy, right? It puts the entire onus on the management. See, if you are employees of your organization, nobody is going to question you, did you implement the POSH law? Or do you have an internal committee, which is a part of the act? So because, see, the law says, the act says, any organization which has 10 or more employees has to implement this POSH act. Everybody, see, let me tell you, it's very clear, even if there is no woman in those 10 employees, even then you have to implement the act. Now, why do you think such a, reasoning was given, even if there is no woman on your payroll or there's no woman working in your organization? Only 10 people are there, not even one is a woman. Why do you think something like that has been given? I'm looking for answer. Your opinions. No right answer, wrong
Would you
answer.
mind if you repeat, please?
The act says any organization which has 10 or more employees has to implement this act. Okay, but even if there is no woman, like somebody might say, okay, I'm a very small organization, we are only 10 people and I don't have women working in my organization. Even then they have to. What could be the reason?
Because
You
it is not
in-
necessary that only women are harassed at workplaces or they are troubled. It is not like that. It could be men also who are undergoing things.
Okay,
So,
that, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, please.
So, there would be a different kind of harassment towards women and a different kind of harassment towards men.
Okay.
So, that
Okay.
could be the reason.
Okay, that's your opinion. Yes, many organizations are going gender neutral as far as these policies are concerned. Remember, the act is not gender neutral. The act only says prevention of sexual harassment against women at the workplace. Okay, this is what the act says. But what is a policy doing? Policy can actually go beyond the act. You can make it gender neutral. Okay, but the question that I have asked is, even if you can have a gender neutral policy in case even you don't have women on your payroll, that's fine. But are we limiting the policy to only those people who are working in my organization, which are primarily men? I can have a female client, I can have a female visitor, I can have a female, kind of contract employee who comes and maintains my washrooms, or I can have a female trainer, like, how I'm doing it now. So it's not that we are only talking about employees. Okay, so this is very clearly mentioned in the act. Even if you are 10 people, no women, even then you need to actually implement the act. Now the onus is completely on the management. Suppose there's a complaint and there is no act being implemented in the organization, there is no POSH policy. So obviously no redressal mechanism. So I am in an organization like that and I seek redressal. I go to someone in the organization, they say, no, we don't have anything like POSH. We didn't start yet. We want to, but we didn't start yet. So what will I do? I'll probably go to the police, or I'll probably go to the local committee. And then when I do something like that, it comes down very heavily on the management. See, considering a POSH complaint is one thing, and considering the fact that the organization does not have POSH implementation, does not have a committee, does not have a proper redressal mechanism, it's going to come very heavily on the management. Okay, so that's the key strategy. Then we have awareness and trainings. As I mentioned in the need, the strategy is also to create awareness through trainings. Like this act has given a vocabulary to lot of actions or behaviors, which could be, that's a very thin line between a joke, a suggestion, a compliment, and harassment. This law has given vocabulary. What now I can probably, this is a question that I would like to take to the next slide. So I'll kind of hold it for a moment. And then the redressal mechanism is itself a very beautiful component of this act, which facilitates the kind of safety feeling that one can get when such a law is implemented, or a policies like that is in place in an organization. Okay, let's go further and try to understand it better. Okay, look at the title of the act: the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act of 2013. So what is prevention? Post-COVID, I didn't ask this question, right? We all know what is prevention. Wearing a mask when it comes to COVID, right? What is prevention? When we say, what is easy? Prevention, or, acting after something actually happens?
Prevention.
Prevention.
Prevention is easy, right? Yeah. Prevention is easy. Okay. Then when we talk about prohibition, I would just ask you this question: can we light a cigarette where there's a no smoking board?
No, we
Cannot.
shouldn't.
We shouldn't, right? So it's like
Yes.
clearly displayed that they don't entertain any kind of smoking there, right? It's a no smoking zone. So when we are talking about this act talks primarily about prevention, and also gives us a lot of ways in which we can actually prohibit. This prohibition is a tone which has to come from the management. Like when the management properly gets a policy framed, and then the policy is displayed at various locations in the organization, and again the internal committee is actually constituted, the committee which actually does the redressal, and then the list of the names or the members who are there in the redressal committee, which is the internal committee, is also displayed everywhere. Just think about it. If I'm in an organization and I face some kind of harassment, I should understand or I should know where I have to go, whom I have to seek support from, or whom I have to reach out to in case I am, I know if I'm not able to handle this, I may have to either leave the job or I may have to, succumb to kind of a mental illness or something like that. So this is where this act talks clearly about prevention methods. See, prevention, we know prevention can happen a lot through trainings, because many times we don't realize that whatever we say or whatever we do may actually offend somebody, could be taken very sensitively by somebody, it could impact somebody. Okay, it's not like I'm deliberately doing a kind of a behavior which can be termed as harassment. I'm just thinking it's a joke, I'm just thinking it's a suggestion, or I'm just thinking I'm complimenting this woman, why is she not taking it light? So but then I'm thinking about it like that, but we don't know how the other person is receiving it, right? So prevention, it could be the key, and it is done mostly through training programs and workshops where people are case discussions where they are aware that such kind of behaviors could become sexual harassment. If not, people don't reckon, and they try to change, they don't try to change their behaviors. Now, how is sexual harassment defined? Look at the definition. This definition is an exhaustive definition. Any action which is sexual and unwelcome by a person is sexual harassment. Any action. What do you mean by any action? Any action. It could be a behavior.
Here,
It could
it
be
could be verbal,
non-verbal, anything, right?
non-verbal, anything. Yes.
Yeah, it could be which it is sexual and unwelcome by a person. What do you mean by unwelcome? Unwelcome,
Not accepted by the person.
not accepted by the person, unwelcome. How can one indicate unwelcomeness? How can one indicate unwelcomeness?
Through the behavior, change in the behavior.
Change in the behavior. Somebody is saying something to me, or somebody is behaving in a particular fashion, I can show my unwelcomeness by either frowning or
Frowning,
not turning my head away, or
turning head.
waving or doing something like that, right? And sexual in nature.
And even physical touch.
Yes, physical touch. These two are two filters. Any kind of behavior, just put that behavior in these two filters. When will a complaint come? A complaint comes only if the person is not welcoming that behavior. A complaint comes, or a complaint is raised only when the receiver is not welcoming that behavior. So that's the first filter, right? The second filter is what is sexual about it. The second filter is what is sexual about it. So look at it, any action. That action could be a verbal, a non-verbal, or a non-verbal with touch or without touch, so many kinds of, or it could be digital. So all these things, it's an exhaustive, it's not like, the reason why I'm very much focusing on this definition is, I'll give you one example. I come from a tier 2 city of Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So suppose I come to Mumbai or I come to Delhi, I go to Delhi for a job, and considering my background, my age, and the locality or the culture that I am brought up, in mixing with a team which has this culture of high five and shake hands with even the male colleagues, okay, it might be a little tough. I might not gel in with people who work in metros and who are used to shaking hands or patting on the shoulders or high-fiving in the workplace. I may not be comfortable, right? So now, if I end up in a team where my boss is like, he would want to say good morning with a high five, or shake my hand whenever there's even a small achievement that is there in the team, or when I'm leaving for the day, he would say, take care, Usha. Okay. Is there a chance that I start feeling uncomfortable and I start feeling that it's not a kind of behavior that I'm enjoying? And every day when I see my boss, I feel, my God, again, another day has started. So is there a chance that I can feel uncomfortable? Is there a chance I can feel unwelcome? You got what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but if it is a culture, like,
It is a culture,
we
yes,
have to get
correct.
used to it. Like,
Ah,
every
okay,
organization has a different culture.
exactly,
Unless there
exactly.
is any, you find that there is any intentional abuse
Intention
involved in it,
Okay, okay. So
or
it's
a
my choice.
way they
then you should
communicate, that
feel,
also distinguish, that
Yes,
yes,
shows the
yes.
difference.
Suppose I have conveyed it through a female colleague who is working with me that that they coming from such a background and such a culture. I'm not feeling good. I sweat every time my boss approaches me, or I try to avoid him, and I'm not able to focus on my work. Is it a problem? Is it a
it is
problem
not
or
a
not?
problem. It is not,
No,
it
no.
should not be a problem because
Is it
it's an
is it a problem
individual.
for me? Is it a problem for me?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it
is
is,
a
right?
problem for you. Yes, it
Right.
is.
So now, if I'm looking for, other options, like, can I switch a team, or can I apply for a job elsewhere, or maybe I'll say I can't work in Mumbai or Delhi. I'm not cut out for it. Let me go back to my Visakhapatnam. Can something like that happen in my thought process?
First, yes.
Yes, right. So it's
Mm,
like it's my personal choice. I mean, it's up to me whether I welcome it or not. But the fact that one particular behavior or one particular action has actually made me demotivated, made me come out of that probably a lucrative job or lucrative career that I would have had, which was in this particular organization, just because I had to face one unwelcome behavior. And when I say what is sexual about it, I'm not used to somebody touching me. I'm not used to someone at the workplace, especially of another gender, touching me. So is there a possibility that I can convey that no, I'm fine with hello, good morning, very good, a thumbs up, all that is fine. But physical touch, no. Can I convey it to the other person? Do I
of
have that
course,
right?
of
Do I have
course
that
you
Yes,
can.
right?
you should. I
Yes,
Now
think
you
you
can.
should.
I should. So now if I
Yes,
have
you
that
should.
right, and if I convey the message, is it not appropriate on the other person's? I mean, is it not appropriate that the other person stops such kind of advances?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So this
Yes.
is where we are coming from. This is where the act is coming from. It says any action which is sexual and unwelcome by a person is sexual harassment. So now the entire discussion that we have had, does it say that shake hand is sexual harassment, or high
No,
five is sexual harassment, or patting
no,
is sexual harassment? All
no.
these become harassment or sexual harassment. What is sexual about it? It involves touch. And why does it become harassment? Because the other person is unwelcome with it. The other person is not welcoming it. The other person is feeling demotivated, not able to convey, feeling bad, and not used to. I mean, it's not our prerogative that they come from a different culture. What is essential is, if we are talking about inclusivity, try to understand from where they are coming from and try to respect their preferences and what they don't want. This is what the act very clearly says about any act which is sexual and unwelcome by a person is sexual harassment. So this any action is a word which we have to keep in mind. Any action can turn into a sexual harassment in case it is sexual in nature and it is unwelcome by a person. Remember, people complain only when it is unwelcome. Okay. Now it's a spectrum. It's not about morality. It's not about good or bad, because in the discussion that we had till now, you had people had answers like it's the culture, it's not good. We are not talking about a good culture or a bad culture. It's a culture. It's a metro culture, it's a tier 2 city culture, or a village culture, and it's a spectrum. What is a spectrum? When I say sexual harassment, I'll tell you, more in most of the trainings, whenever I ask what flashes in your mind when we say sexual harassment, they only talk about physical sexual harassment, and probably the words that immediately flash in their mind are a rape or a molestation or a newspaper headline that comes in. So it's not just that which is sexual harassment. I'm not saying a rape is not sexual harassment. Rape is definitely the most heinous form of sexual harassment, but it is towards one end of the spectrum. When we are looking at the different kind of actions, that is where this definition fits in. Any action which is sexual in nature and which is unwelcome by a person can be considered as sexual harassment according to this act. Okay, so this is one thing we should understand. And again, different interpretations by different people of the same action. See, when we spoke about high five, when we spoke about handshake, when we spoke about patting, I had different interpretations coming in while I was discussing it with you, right? So, but then the same action, when I'm talking about the actual person who has complained, which is me, why did I complain? Because my interpretation was why is a man trying to touch me? It could be on the pretext of a handshake, on the pretext of a high five, on the pretext of a pat, but I'm not welcoming it. So it's not, Varsha is right or Usha is wrong. It is how Varsha looks at it and how Usha looks at it or interprets it. Okay. So this is something which is actually who decides. Let us discuss all that in the coming slides. Now, when we are looking at the act, we have certain definitions. And in fact, these definitions become a very important part of your policy because for every organization, yes? Trikal, Mr. Trikal, can you mute, please?
I have muted him.
Okay, yeah. So each policy, each individual policy of an organization, right? It has these definitions. Employee, who is your employee? Is it the only are they the only people who are your on your payroll? Are they your contract employees? Do you take interns for completing any kind of projects? Then are you going to cover them in the policy? And do you have clients visiting? That is why usually this employee word is used alternatively with a word called associate. So all those people whom you cover in this policy will be termed as employee or associate. It could be your full-time, part-time, contract, ad hoc, consultants, clients, visitors, interns. Anybody can be your associate or employee as far as this policy is concerned. All those people, I mean, remember, when this policy, in this policy, in case all these people are the ones who are committing an inappropriate behavior, even then they come under this policy. If they are the ones who are in receiving end of such behavior, in the sense, if they are the victims, even then they are covered under this policy. Okay, so this is the first definition that we have to bear in mind. The next thing is workplace. So now can each of you tell me what is your workplace? A couple of you. What's your workplace?
Office,
IT sector.
IT sector. No, workplace. How do you define your workplace? Is it a particular office at a particular address? What is your
Office.
workplace? Office, yeah, at a particular location, right?
Yes.
If your organization has a bus facility, in the sense a transport facility, they are ferrying people to your office and out. Does that transport come under workplace? Do we have to cover people in the transport also?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We don't have a transport, but we work a lot on social media. It's like I have WhatsApp groups, I have we have texting, we have got intranet, all these things, right? Even then, if some kind of harassment happens during your WhatsApp chatting or intranet, then can that be considered as a workplace?
Yes. If it is related to
Can
work
that-
and it happens, then yes.
Okay, fine. If it is related to work, then it will happen. Let me give you a very, what do you call it, intelligent definition that has come about when we talk about workplace, right? Any place where there is a working relationship, any place where a working relationship exists between two people, between whom this particular incident has happened. Okay, so it's not work. After work, there was a weekend party, and after the weekend party, everybody dispersed, and an incident happened between colleagues. Okay, can we take it on our IC? I mean, I say again, you have not been introduced to the term. Can we take it as a complaint? Should it be covered? It's a weekend
Yes.
party. It's not within the
Yeah,
workplace.
Yes.
Is the weekend party organized by the company or was it somebody's personal?
If it is somebody's personal, see, suppose it's one of the employee's birthday, he has given a party, and many of the your team members or our team members have gone to the party. After the party, something happened. Then what?
If it's personal, I don't think so. But if it's again a work party, yes.
Okay, so whatever it is, even if it is a personal party also, why are we bearing with that person? If somebody has come to our company and filed a complaint with us, and the person who has committed that inappropriate behavior is also with us, then all this amounts to be, is deemed to be considered as a workplace. Any place where there is a working relationship is a workplace. Okay, this is why I'm constantly reminding myself that this is your first teaser session, as I would call it. So let me not just delve into some things where we might end up in a long discussion and lose out on other things. Okay, let any place, remember this sentence, any place where there is a working relationship between two people is deemed to be considered as a workplace. Now, a complainant is somebody who is who has received a kind of behavior for which she is raising a complaint. Okay, and again, we can also clarify it in another way. Complainant always need not be the victim. See, suppose I suffer, I face a behavior. If I complain, I become the complainant. If I'm unable to complain because I'm like, I don't want to go to office, I switched off my mobile, I'm not eating food, I'm at home, and suddenly my mom or my husband is worried and they call somebody else from the same organization, and she comes to know, or I share with her that something like this has happened and they raise a complaint. Okay, I'm the victim and they become the complainant. Okay, so that is how we define a complainant. Then the respondent. Respondent is the one, look at the word, such a beautiful word that Act has given. They don't say that the person who has committed such a behavior is an accused. They say that he is a respondent, he or she is a respondent. When we say respondent, it is that person to whom we are giving a chance to respond. That is why they are called the respondent. And the next one is a bystander. Bystander is somebody who sees, or who sees an inappropriate behavior, or who listens to something that has happened, which comes under of any of these kinds of inappropriate behaviors that we are being discussing. Okay, it's like we witnessing an accident on the road. Who can comfortably make a call to the hospital, ambulance, or the police? Is it the one who fell off the scooter, or is it somebody who has seen the accident?
Someone,
Yes.
someone who's
Someone who has seen it.
Yes, someone who has seen it, right? Somebody who has not actually been injured. So it's
Yes.
that bystander. Such a person is called a bystander. Okay. So these are the definitions. Now, I would like to seek support from Rajiv. I'm sorry, Samina, right?
Yeah.
Samina, can you? I'm stopping my screen share. Can you please play this video?
Sure, sure. No.
सिंह साहब कटिंग आ गई।
चाय कम होती जा रही है विशु।
अरे क्या सिंह साहब आप भी
बहुत बदन दर्द कर रहा है, कोई बादाम की दूध पिला दे।
साले तुम्हारे सही है, बीवी बच्चे घर पे, खुद वहाँ सपना होटल में मजे ले रहे हो।
पता तो आप ही ने दिया था भैया।
हाँ, पर हम तो यहाँ सूखे बैठे हैं, तुम तो वहाँ कुएं में डुबकी मार रहे हो।
अपनी मुडोना को लेके आ जाओ यहाँ पे।
अरे कहाँ, 10 साल की बेटी का बापू।
हाँ जी हाँ, वैसे ये होटल वाले बोल रहे थे किसी की हरी चड्डी छूट गई यहाँ पे।
अरे भागो तुम, बदतमीज। चलो रखो, काम है हमें।
अरे सुनिए तो।
अभिषु
जी सर।
अपनी मुडोना पूरा सर।
जी मीनाक्षी मैडम।
हाँ।
शर्मा।
हाँ सर।
अरे वो अग्रवाल क्रशर का क्या हुआ?
सर मैंने कल आपको फाइल दी तो थी।
अच्छा, तो देखो यहीं रखी होगी। बैठो।
नहीं सर, ठीक है सर। ये
क्या लगा के आई हो, महक जा रही हो?
सर ये जो रिन्यूअल पेपर्स हैं इसमें दोनों पार्टनर्स के नाम हैं और नीचे सिग्नेचर्स भी हैं। ये सतीश अग्रवाल, ये सुधांशु। ये फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट का अप्रूवल और ये पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड के पेपर्स। सर प्रॉब्लम हो रही है कि सतीश अग्रवाल अभी साइन करने से क्या हुआ सर?
क्या
आप कुछ देख रहे हैं?
मतलब?
मेरे बूब्स देख रहे हैं? अरे तो देखिए ना अच्छे से, ये देखिए।
ए, नाटक बंद कर।
अरे नहीं सच में सर। वैसे भी आप आधे टाइम तो मुझे देखने के लिए ही बुलाते हैं, तो एक बार अच्छे से देख डाली। ये
देख बहुत पछताएगी तू।
अरे सर सीरियसली। अच्छा मैं ये उतार देती हूँ, है ना?
क्या कर रही हो? सब लोग
अरे
देख रहे हैं।
तो देखने दीजिए ना, मेरे पास कुछ स्पेशल नहीं है, सेम ही होता है सबका। हाँ बस साइज थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे होता है बस। वैसे भाभी जी का क्या साइज होगा? 34 ना, या 36? आपको तो पता ही होगा सर।
आई एम सॉरी, प्लीज बैठो तुम।
नहीं माना मेरी स्किन थोड़ी मुलायम है, लेकिन मलाई थोड़ी ना है सर कि जब आपका मन चाहा आपने चम्मच डुबाया और चाट लिया। अरे शर्मा जी तो शर्मा गए। सर आपके डर से तो मैंने स्लीवलेस पहनना भी छोड़ दिया है।
Ma'am, you are muted.
Yes. Thank you, Samina. I'm sharing my screen once again. So yes, now. Okay. So here are the questions. So can you identify the complainant here? Complainant? Meenakshi is the complainant.
Meenakshi,
Okay.
yes.
Who's the victim here? Who is facing harassment here?
Meenakshi.
Meenakshi.
Okay. Rest all comfortable?
No, they were not, but they were not speaking anything.
Yeah. So when did harassment actually start in the video?
Looking like it's the way the Pune has said that Sharma. I think it's from long that the thing was going on, because it
Okay.
was noticed by the Pune as well.
Okay, it was noticed by the Pune as well. Now, I want to ask this question. In the video, which was around 3 minutes and some seconds, right? In the video, when did the harassment start? Actually start?
When he called for the file.
Yes? Anybody else?
When he was
Did it-
discussing on the call, that
He was
is also
discussing.
considered as a sexual harassment.
Okay, he was discussing something on the call, and was it very
Yes, that was indecent.
that it was an indecent conversation that was happening on the phone, right? So harassment started right from the call itself. And we understand, I take it from you that it's not just Meenakshi who has, or it's not only Meenakshi who has been harassed. We found that other people who are feeling uncomfortable also are prone to some kind of harassment, right?
Naturally.
And yeah, and he was actually having her photograph on the system when she had come to him, right? We can see that it was his desktop background or something like that. He was looking
was
at
a
a social
Facebook.
media handle, right? Facebook handle,
It-
right?
yes.
So is it okay? Is it okay?
It's not.
No.
Okay, can we consider it as another form of harassment? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And now the question is, why do you think people have not complained? Because one of you has said that it started long back, right? The way the Pune looked at him, it started long back. Why do you think? Why do you think nobody complained?
Due to his position and power.
Due to his position and power, that's also okay, good. Or
Fear of
maybe
losing the job.
fear of losing the job. Or do you think there's such an organization where Suppose he's in a position and he's in the power, or he's the topmost person in the organization. Do you think there would be a posh policy in place? A posh
Posh
act
policy would not
implementation
be
is
in
happening.
place.
May not. I will not say
May
would
not
not.
be.
May not.
May
May
not
not.
be
Or
there.
maybe Meenakshi doesn't know that there is some kind of, redressal mechanism, because she has told that she has stopped wearing sleeveless, or the way she tried to, put up her hair and come when he called for her. All these things make us understand that she is actually bearing with it for quite some time. Maybe the way you put in, it could be position, it could be power, or it could be not being aware that there is a redressal
Policy or
mechanism.
something.
There is a redressal mechanism. Something can be done. Okay. So looking at the video, these things, I think we have covered these things, right? Different kinds of sexual harassment. One is verbal, the way he was commenting on her perfume, the way he was, talking over the phone, all these things like, objectionable, obscene, and kind of conversations, compliment, joke, or comment, or suggestion, anything, right? All this comes under verbal. Then we look at the non-verbal. When we say non-verbal, it is gestures, postures, or making signals with, by winking eyes or wetting the lips or looking at a person inappropriately. We found that he was looking inappropriately at her. Did we not? Did he
Yes.
look at her inappropriately? We have seen that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So all this comes under non-verbal. And when we are saying non-verbal without touch, okay, with touch, if we have to say, he already tried to touch her at the back. And, that's how she kind of, maybe that's the final straw. She got irritated and she started shouting at him. Okay. So it is either with touch or without any physical contact also, it happens. And digital abuse, when we say digital abuse, any kind of harassment that happens through any kind of social media handle or text messages, or having somebody else's photograph as our screensaver and trying to look at it when the other person is also understanding that you're doing something like that and unwelcome about it. All such kind of things come under digital abuse. And again, two more things that you need to understand as far as different types of sexual harassment are concerned. One is a quid pro quo. Quid pro quo is this for that. When I'm saying this for that, say suppose in this example or in this video that we have seen, one of you has said that he might be the in a power position, or he might be the boss. Probably that's one reason why. Suppose if the boss says, let us discuss your increment over dinner this weekend. What options does Meenakshi have? Let us discuss your increment over dinner this weekend. What options does Meenakshi have? What is it indicating? What is that statement indicating?
Looking for dinner date.
Dinner date, looking for a dinner date, and promising what?
For the money.
Expecting a favor from her
Yes,
for
yes.
giving an increment.
Want to get
Increment, right?
something
So
in
that is
return.
that is what is a quid pro quo, and it can be interpreted in a different way also. See, if you're coming, there might be a chance for an increment. If you're not coming for the dinner, then
No
It
increment.
will go to someone
no
else.
increment. Yeah, it may go to someone else. So this is what we call quid pro quo. Okay, and then hostile work environment. When I'm talking about hostile work environment, if suppose I'm not going to dinner when Sharma calls, okay, I'm Meenakshi, I don't want to go. So the next day when I come to the office, always there are some mistakes being pointed out in my work, or whatever is resource I require to complete my task comfortably, it is not provided, or I am my performance is rated low in the next appraisal. So all this makes my work environment hostile. People start gossiping, or people.
Ma'am, you're breaking, ma'am.
I can't hear you, ma'am.
Ma'am, we cannot hear you.
Samina, just hang on. I'm just trying to call her.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes.
I'm extremely sorry for the technical glitch. Okay. So let me just, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we have just two more things to cover. Okay. We are talking about
The presentation is not visible. The presentation is not visible.
presentation is not visible. Now, can you tell me one thing? Are all sexual harassment behaviors black and white? You're able to listen, right? Let us continue the conversation before I set the other things right. Are all sexual harassment, complaints or incidents, are all of them black and white?
No. No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily, right? How do we differentiate? How do we differentiate? Like, who can say that Mr. Sharma looked at Meenakshi inappropriately? We saw it in the video, that's why we know.
Yes.
That is why we know. Otherwise, how do you think we can, someone can say that?
Excuse me, I have a doubt.
Okay.
How you can bifurcate in black and white? What is that exactly?
What is that exactly? We cannot do that, right? We cannot do that. Who can decide whether one particular behavior is, there is a doer and a receiver, right? For every
Yes.
action, there is a doer and a receiver. Who will decide whether there is an act? Suppose, see, we have seen this video, okay? Because we saw this video, which is very crystal clear, we understand that certain actions are inappropriate, okay? Suppose we haven't seen the video and it's a closed room in which Sharma has asked Meenakshi to come in and did whatever he did. So now who is the witness?
No one.
Nobody.
It depends
Nobody.
if there's a CCTV.
There's a CCTV, then yes. If there's no CCTV,
Of course, no one is.
No one.
no one, right? No one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a sexual harassment complaint, the first witness is the person who suffers, the victim itself. The victim itself. Okay. Then when again I'm saying certain actions, for certain actions, there cannot be witnesses. There may not be witnesses. Okay. So this is where we look at whenever we get a complaint. It doesn't matter whether one intends to offend someone or not. Like we have something called an intent and an impact. Intent is that of the doer. Impact is on the receiver. Impact is on the receiver. Intent is on the doer. I might have, shared a joke that is there in the WhatsApp group of my school friends in public in the canteen at the workplace. It is a kind of a non-veg joke, okay? Having all kinds of masala and everything. And I have shared that. I received it in my school WhatsApp group and I, verbally vocalized it during lunchtime at my office canteen. Is there a chance that somebody might feel very odd about it, very uncomfortable about it?
Yes, there is a possibility.
There is a
Yes.
possibility, right? There is a possibility. Okay. So somebody is impacted. Again, my intention is not to actually offend that person. So it doesn't matter if one intends to offend someone or not. So let us think on this line. Most of the cuss words, it's our bad luck, but most of the cuss words are sexually oriented towards women. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, even in all vernacular languages, whether it is Marathi, whether it's Hindi, Telugu, whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So if in a canteen or in the bus or over phone while talking to somebody, I'm a male and I'm using such kind of language, what would my colleague, a female colleague sitting next to me, feel? Does she feel safe?
Of course not.
No.
They
Okay.
feel very awkward.
Exactly. They will feel embarrassed, they'll feel awkward, they will hesitate to communicate with me. So it doesn't
Yes.
matter whether one intends to offend someone or not. Okay. Test of harassment is for whatever action that we do, whatever we say or whatever we do. Okay. Is it welcome to the other person or not is what is test of harassment.
Mhm.
Whatever we want to say or whatever we want to do. Okay. Just let us be conscious if the other person is going to welcome it or not. It's as simple as that. Sometimes people might convey through their facial expression itself, or sometimes it can come a little later, but then have a check, have a self check. Is it okay? Are they accepting it? Are they receiving it properly? That is the test of harassment. Because I tell you, black and white, okay. Sometimes gray complaints come in because the person who has actually done or said something doesn't realize that he has impacted the other person so much. Okay, so this test of harassment is extremely essential. So all behaviors of SH black and white? No. Okay. What about the gray ones? How do we decide on the gray ones? That was the question, right? Now tell me,
Yes.
who gets to decide on the impact, intention, and correctability?
Come again?
Who gets to decide about the impact? Impact.
Hmm.
So suppose I face a kind of a behavior, like, my colleague speaks, oh my God, he's such a, I mean, he is very open. He speaks to everybody very, very, what can I say? He's very free. The way he talks, the way he behaves is very free. Okay. But the kind of language he uses, suppose he calls me after work and I have to talk something to him, I feel I should better stay away from my kids or my husband and then speak to him. Such is the language that he uses. If he's talking about boss or about something or anybody. Okay, so what kind of an impact it might leave on me? Suppose I don't want to, tomorrow I get a chance and I say, I don't want to work with this guy. Or can you please relocate me to another department? Or can I just leave this organization if I'm thinking of leaving the organization? So that is the impact, right? The impact
Yeah.
is usually on the receiver. When we're
Yes.
talking about that impact, okay? So now when we actually take complaints, what matters most is the impact. When we take
Yes.
a complaint, what matters most to the impact. Next comes the intention. Even in impact also, what comes first is the impact on the person, impact on the workplace, and impact on the reputation of the organization. Three of them. Okay, impact on the person or receiver of that behavior, impact on the workplace, and impact on the, finally, the organization's reputation. Okay,
Yes.
then comes the intention. Then comes the intention. Is it knowingly done? Is it unknowingly done? And when we talk about correctability, when we are actually talking to the respondent, giving him or her a chance to,
Correct.
understand and analyze their behavior. If we find there is a kind of a remorse in that person, or if we find that person is actually suddenly realizing that, oh my God, I never thought that, it could happen this way. Okay, that is what is correctability. All these decisions, who takes these decisions? Is it the management or is it the redressal mechanism, which is the committee for addressing these complaints? Who decides?
Both.
The special committee should do it.
Committee does it. Okay, it is the committee which does it. And who can conclude if the SH happened or not? When it is not black and white, when it is a gray one, let me tell you, circumstantial evidence plays a lot of role. Circumstantial evidence. It's not black and white, it's gray, then circumstantial evidence. Again, the IC gets to decide. This is where you should understand what the IC is. IC is the internal committee, remember, nominated by the management. Management picks the IC. There are no elections. No elections, no kind of, who senior most, junior most, nothing like that. It is a composition which is like, male, female, equal number, depending on the size of the organization. But the presiding officer should be a senior female employee, is what the act says. Senior female employee in a senior position. The logic behind it, she is the one who has to drive the inquiry. So she needs to have a position. Okay. The next thing is the external member. An external member can be a male or a female, but they should come with an experience in the area of POSH, in the area of prevention of sexual harassment, or in the area of women empowerment, or in the area of training women, or any kind of NGO or a lawyer. So this is how an external member is chosen. And the logic behind an external member is, why do you need someone else on your committee, you tell me?
Because they will be unbiased.
Unbiased. Okay, they are the ones who can actually decide when there is no black and white. Okay, so this is, and again, they may not show any kind of favoritism. And an external member is usually, remember again, the internal committee is not liable for any kind of responsibility in case something goes wrong. You know that. In case, when I'm saying something goes wrong, if the complainant goes out and goes to the police and complains, even after complaining within the organization, or goes to the court, even after giving complaint in the organization, internal committee is not questioned, the management is questioned. So management has to pick and choose the right people for the internal committee, which is actually a very tricky job. They have to do a lot of homework before they get to set up their internal committee. The functions of the IC. IC functions like a civil court. IC can summon anybody, pick anyone as a witness, relieve them from their duties and ask them to come and question them. But the only thing IC doesn't do, or IC cannot do as per the act, is IC does not give judgments. Internal committee gives recommendations which are to be followed by the management, which are to be implemented by the management. Okay. Further, this is something which you need to understand. This is the last 2 slides that we have right now. Okay. Confidentiality. I can actually give you whatever are there on the public domain, we can take the names. But whenever we take examples, we usually don't take names, or whenever we discuss cases with others, we don't take their names. Confidentiality, we are bound by confidentiality as per the act. Confidentiality of the victim, confidentiality of the complainant, bystander, or witness, whoever. Okay, it is very, very essential because it can ruin their lives if their names are out. So confidentiality is something which has to be maintained. It cannot be breached. People can be sued, people can be penalized for breaching that confidentiality. Then burden of evidence. When we are talking about burden of evidence, do all sexual harassment acts have evidence or witness?
No,
No,
not
they
necessary.
may not be, not necessarily,
They may not,
right?
yeah, not
necessary.
necessary.
So suppose we have somebody coming to us and saying something like this happened. Somebody looked at me very inappropriately while I was searching for the files, or while I was in the locker room, somebody tried to grope me. There's no CC camera, there's no one around, nothing. Okay. So now if immediately we say, or we respond in a way, did anybody see? Or did you save the messages that he had sent you? Or did you voice record the conversation in which he used inappropriate language? Oh my God, you don't have any proof. So what will happen to the victim? If somebody is responding like this, what will happen to the victim?
They will feel more depressed.
They'll feel more depressed. They might completely go back, step back. They may not give a complaint, which is, again, is it healthy? They may
Not at all.
continue bearing with such behavior, or they might exit from the system.
Yes.
They might exit from the system, right? So burden of evidence is not on the victim, or it is also not on the bystander. Remember that in such cases, especially in sexual harassment cases, circumstantial evidence plays a very important role. And whenever we have a complaint, initially we look for proofs and witnesses, but we don't insist on them. If they are there, well and good. Even without them, somebody can complain. Now, this act or this policy or this entire model works in a correction model. When I'm saying correction model, it is, we don't want people to get out of their jobs, get onto the roads, lose their jobs, or can't feed their family just because at one point of time they have committed one kind of sexual harassment in behavior. Somebody was, but then if it is rape or something, we don't want to give a second chance. But if it's a verbal abuse, or if it is something like one attempt to make a physical advance, okay, so we try to do it. The redressal is done in a way in which we try to correct the person's behavior and bring them on track again. We don't want to ruin their lives. Correction of individuals, correction of workplace. This is the model of the redressal mechanism as far as this act is concerned. Now the major concerns with managements have, many organizations have this apprehension that this act is biased towards women. If this act is implemented, if we start implementing this act, there will be a lot of false complaints. Women will start using it this way, that way, and try to raise issues on anyone whom they cannot get along with while they're working. Okay. Am I right? Will people have those apprehensions or not?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
They will have.
So now you should understand, even if we have a doubt that the complaint that has come is a false or malicious complaint, we cannot deny an inquiry. The maliciousness of the complaint should be established through the inquiry. The complaint is taken, the internal committee works on it, the inquiry is conducted, and basing on the facts, basing on the proofs or the witnesses, the internal committee concludes whether the complaint is malicious or not. And in case the complaint is malicious, whatever penalty or penal, kind of corrections that are made to the respondent, in case it is true, the same thing applies to the female or the person who has raised the complaint, false complaint. It could be suspension, it could be dismissal, it could be warning, or it could be some kind of no promotion for the next 1 year. Okay, so these are the things which we need to remember. Now, here are some closing thoughts. I think we are run out of time, so just a few of them. Is the implementation of POSH Act just for compliance? Is it just for compliance, or we have anything else to do? Or
No,
is
it
it
is
just a
not
nice?
just for compliance. It is
Is
to do justice to female workers who are facing such problems, but are not able
Yeah.
to voice it or are not able to get it addressed.
Okay, so now
It
it's a
is
mechanism. We say that it's a mechanism being
Mechanism.
provided, right? So is
Yes.
it a nice thing? Is it an act of charity? I'm not hearing any male voices. It's like they've
It
dropped
is
off.
a necessity of today, ma'am.
It's a necessity. Is it a nice thing? Or is it an act of charity? Or
No, it
is
is
it
a
a,
nice thing.
it's a nice thing. Yes. Okay. It's a nice thing. Why
Because
is it a
today
nice
we
thing?
are
to
in
maintain the
a
culture, work
joint
culture.
workplace where both
Okay.
men and women are there.
Okay.
So I just wanted to add one thing, ma'am. Like you
Okay.
had asked during that video, so
Uh-huh.
many people were there. They were
Okay.
not comfortable, but they were
Okay.
not complaining. The reason
Okay.
was very simple, ma'am. Was
Okay.
that everyone, unless they face it on their own self, they do
Uh-huh.
not come out to speak out.
Okay, okay. So that again, we don't wish for something like that to happen, right? So just think
Right.
of it. Is that my final question is it a business imperative? When I'm saying a business imperative, I just want to ask you a few questions, right? Suppose
Okay.
your organization is looking for you want to employ many number of people, like you're just growing big and you want to take in a lot of resumes and you want to attract a lot of resumes and take in new people, enhance your workforce. Okay, so at that point of time, if there is a talk that in your particular organization, we have somebody like Mr. Sharma of our
Right.
video in your organization. This is for everybody, right? Just keep thinking. And the talk is that people are silent, lot of, because it's observed, no? People are silent, people are bearing with it. And one lady like Meenakshi had spoken up, but it's not easy for everybody to speak up. So there is harassment happening in that organization. How many resumes are you expecting? How many CVs are you expecting? How many people would be willing to join your organization?
Less.
Not many.
Not many, right? See, even if you receive resumes and those who would be joining your organization, how long would they stay?
They wouldn't stay for long.
They wouldn't stay for long. Like, look at it. Only if all the creamy layer would want to pick another organization, and even if the creamy layer is joining your organization, they would want to exit as soon as they get another opportunity.
Because no
Okay.
one likes a toxic environment.
Yeah, nobody likes a toxic environment. And what happens to those? See, a mediocre talent would definitely stay back probably because they are not able to
Naturally.
find jobs elsewhere. But then when
Exactly.
mediocre talent is staying back, and this kind of toxic culture as you put in, okay, what is the kind of productivity that you are expecting from them? How
That will be
effective would be?
non-dismissal.
Yeah, how effective would be as the how
Not at
effective would
all.
they be as employees?
Mhm.
So, will this all boil down to numbers? When I'm saying
Yes.
numbers, profits,
Yes, exactly.
Numbers, reputation,
numbers, reputation, clients,
clients.
customers. Let me tell you, I am an external member on the internal committees of 10 organizations. Every
Oh,
year
right.
there are some audits that happen, social audits. Okay, social audits happen where we have seen, as an external member, I have been called by the organization to face their audit team. The audit team has n number of questions about how this company is operating as far as employee wellness is concerned, because one sustainable development goal number 10 is also employee wellness. When we're talking about wellness, they would ask about all these things. What is happening when people are not able to focus? Why are they not able to focus? Is it just because they lost interest in the job, or is it because of a toxic work environment? So everything translates into numbers. You don't get good quality people because good quality will use every chance to jump out of the organization which has a toxic culture. The mediocre quality don't perform, so your productivity comes down, your clients come down, your reputation comes down. So it's just a vicious circle that you're getting into in case you are trying to dodge. Or I find many people saying that our organization, no, there is no harassment at all. Let me tell you, people look at such dashboards with zero complaints, such dashboards with no issues reported as a joke. We are all human. We are all human. Big or small, there could be one inappropriate behavior or the other. If things are surfacing, it means we are cleansing the environment. We are cleansing the toxic culture. If we are just keeping our eyes shut, then we are heading for something big, because we never realize until, like, one of your people had said, something falls on our head directly. Okay, so it's definitely a bit, business imperative. So thank you so much, ISODA, for this opportunity. I would appreciate your efforts to kickstart something like this. Make your workplace safe. For any continuity of engagement or any queries, you can reach me on this number or through my email. If you have any questions, I'm ready to take. Any questions?
Thanks, Dr. Usha. It was a
No.
very nice and
Thank you.
interactive session. I think, like you mentioned in the beginning, you are just scratched the surface.
Ma'am, thank you very much. It was a very informative session.
Thank you so much.
And since you have shared, I
We
think a
have
lot
a
of people
workplace
can.
that works in multiple cities.
Yes.
So it is very necessary for this POSH to be there for all those cities.
Yes.
Because many a times we see when we have locations that are other than our home base, so we prefer not to get female employees, because at that area maybe we might not be able to provide them with the security.
Exactly.
In the office location or where we are there present, we may be able to manage that.
Okay.
But when sending them out into the market in sales, it becomes a bit dicey for us also.
Yes, exactly. And I would also like to make this appeal to the top management people who are here, CXO level kind of people. It's always that, such kind of policies and implementation should start right from the top management. See, from my experience, when we do trainings for the lead team, we do it for a complete day in a workshop model, because they are the people who should actually understand how this translates as far as behaviors is concerned. Their modeling is very essential for people to follow. So the policy, first thing is the policy that has to be in place. It's with a very good framework and the definitions, and it should contain a note of zero tolerance that we got. That is what we insist upon, of zero tolerance from the top management. It's not the behavior that we are looking at, big or small. What are we trying to see is any kind of behavior that can be detrimental to other person's well-being in our organization. Okay, when we talk about POSH Act, we are talking about sexual harassment, but there can be beyond that also, like abuse and harassment of any kind affecting any gender. Okay, so it's a call out to the CXOs: lead by example, have a policy in place, then do your trainings properly, and send the message that you are zero tolerant.
Ma'am, I had a question.
Yes,
The POSH policy, is it also recommended to apply for NGOs and organizations?
Yes, every organization, profit as well as non-profit.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, also, do you do training? Like, if we call you personally for training, do you do like in particular forms?
Yeah. Can we get in touch personally, Varsha?
Yes, sure, ma'am.
Comfortable. Yeah.
No, that will be good. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was a nice.
Yes, one more question from my side.
Yes, Himakshi.
One thing, like if as you have explained that the organ to build a internal committee, one senior female employee should be there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What if in case like the in the organization there are all of the same age, because the company is not hiring of that level of age, like for that.
No. The thing is, yeah, Himakshi, you got me. There was a little confusion in this. Female in a senior position.
Senior
It's not the
position, yeah.
age, senior position. The
If
reason
there is
being,
nobody female in senior position, that only I'm asking, because
senior position. Okay.
yeah, because they are on a same level, not like they are all HR. Suppose for it's an example, they are all HRs, and one is HR manager. She is also of same age group, and she is a manager. Can
Okay.
we put her into that place?
Okay, that's a very good question, Himakshi. One thing that has to be, I mean, that's why I said this is just a tip of the iceberg. When the IC constitution happens, we always try to put HR away from IC. The reason being, HR is in one way or the other because of payroll, because of appraisals, because of induction and everything. HR is as it is directly what do you call associated with all the employees, right? And HR is the first stop where everybody goes when they have a concern. So
Correct,
till
correct.
that we encourage, but when it because lot of things, just think about it. I have women in my team, and in the name of disciplining, I'm harassing them.
Okay, yeah,
In
correct.
the name of disciplining, so there is a very thin line between disciplining and harassing. Okay,
Correct.
so we try to separate SH from HR issues.
Okay. So
Okay,
what we
so
can do in that case if
yeah.
there is no one in the female who is in senior position?
Okay, so if there is a possibility that you have, see, if we have no alternative, we can have someone from the HR, okay, as a presiding officer for a temporary basis and try to have a position where we fill in with a female employee. See, ultimately, this is the bigger picture, right? This is the
Correct.
bigger picture. To have that position fixed for a senior position female employee is a bigger picture. This act is encouraging organizations to promote women into that position so that they can be the presiding officers. That is the bigger picture. If that's not happening, for a temporary basis, you can have someone who is not as senior. That's okay. Otherwise, if you have a head office, like suppose you are having different branches and you have a head office. In your head office, there is a senior manager who's a female. She
Okay.
can operate as the presiding officer.
Okay.
She can operate as the presiding officer.
Okay. Whether she
Okay.
is a foreign, like NRI as well?
No, if it's an NRI, it doesn't work out.
Oh,
If it is an NRI, it doesn't work out. If it is within India, like say for example, I'm the external member for a unit here, which makes threads that are used in garment stitching. Okay, and the head office is somewhere in Punjab, and the presiding officer is the lady, in a very senior position in Punjab, in their head office.
Okay.
She visits this place once in a quarter. So that's how she is on paper. We put her as the presiding officer. Such an arrangement can be made. She has to belong to the same organization, but in a different office.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
And ma'am, you had put one more situation where there are no female employees.
Yes, exactly.
In the company. Then in that situation, how to get a female?
Okay. In that situation, we seek support from the local committee. Every district has got a district local committee.
Okay.
District local committee, which is there in the collector office of that district. Collector and district magistrate's office. Okay. In that local committee also, there is a committee which is called the local complaints committee. We call it the LCC or the LC. In that we have a presiding officer which is nominated by the government itself. We have a presiding officer, we have an external member, we have members. So we can seek services of that presiding officer.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, one question.
If
someone is abused by the member,
Ambili, you're breaking, Ambili.
Yeah.
Not audible.
Hello.
Yes.
No, am I
now you're
audible?
audible.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If someone is abused by the person who is the member of the internal committee, in that case, who will act like a presiding officer then in that case?
Okay. If any member of the internal committee is either the complainant or the respondent or the witness, okay, for that particular complaint, they step down from their role. And the management nominates someone else. Remember, for every complaint to be handled, a quorum of 3 is sufficient. Quorum of 3 is sufficient. If the internal committee is 5 people or 7 people, 3 people are sufficient. In that 3 people, presiding officer, external member, and one more person should be there. If it is the presiding officer who is facing, okay, then the management nominates someone else for this particular complaint. If the presiding officer or somebody else on the committee is the respondent, is the one who has misbehaved or caused that inappropriate situation, then they are asked to step down for that complaint. After the inquiry happens, if they are proved guilty, they are not again, reinstated into the committee. They are asked to leave that position, because recommendation might be beyond leaving that position. No, it can be a suspension, it can be a dismissal. It depends on the gravity of the impact on the complainant and the workplace.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
I think we're good to end. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you,
Thank
Samina,
you so
for the
much, ma'am.
support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.